This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Don't try any of this at home. Get out in the bush first. On this episode of North to South, we're going on a spring forage. It's early May, and we're on a hunt for wild leeks and yellow morels, possibly some fiddleheads, and whatever else we can get our hands on. But first, a few words of advice. So, I'm out here barbecuing my chicken, and thought it would be a perfect time to warn you guys about eating wild edibles. Do some research, get a field manual. I'll show you mine. I have several. It's a no-brainer. If you don't know what it is, don't blame me for dying. Don't just take my word for it, and you're not seeing what I'm seeing. I don't know, what do you think? Think that's ready? I know what I'm eating is safe to eat, but how you interpret things and how I interpret things are going to be different. So, just be safe. That's all there is to it. So now that that's over with, back to our forage. Kitchener is home to a lot of things. Vast forests aren't one of them. So finding forested areas to forage isn't that easy. Fortunately, it's not my first canoe trip, so I know exactly where to find what I need. Our journey starts in the south end, my home base. We'll meet up with Brian later. Hey everybody, welcome to North to South. It's the beginning of May, and we're out on a spring forage, so let's go see what we can find. So this plant doesn't really need an introduction. Everybody knows what these are. They're dandelions. Every part of this plant is edible. The stem, the head of the flower, the roots, and the leaves. Comes from the French word dent de lion, which describes the shape of the leaf. You can eat the roots as well, but stay to the ground. But every single part of this plant is absolutely edible and very safe and easy to identify. The only thing I don't recommend is eating these within city limits. A lot of these get sprayed with herbicide, so it's not really a good idea. Dandelions are a great choice in a survival situation, so they definitely deserve a mention. They're easily identified and very abundant. Okay, so I just want to go over the dandelion quickly. Just as a emergency food, and really a lot of people eat these regularly. Just like I mentioned before, Really important that you don't pick these from your lawn or anybody else's lawn, because a lot of people spray them with poison. So every part of the dandelion is edible. The leaves. Now there's a lot of different types of dandelions, and you'll see some of them with longer leaves, shorter spikes. So they're basically all the same. If it's got the telltale flower and the weedy look, and infests just about everything, then it's probably a dandelion. Pretty easy to identify. That's what makes it a good edible in any kind of emergency. Here is the root. I dug that, got that one pretty good in the ground. It's kind of like a carrot on the end there. You can eat that as well, the whole thing. But yeah, very easy go-to wild edible. Don't pick them in the city, pick them in the bush. Don't eat dandelions from the city, or you may die. I'm out on the trails again, looking for morels. It's not looking good so far. One of the things about looking for morels is that you're trying to find something yellow amongst, thousands of leaves that are also yellow. Not to mention that they're hard to find. They only grow under specific conditions. And if you don't find an area that meets those conditions, you likely won't find them. So it's a lot of looking around. What you see behind me is known as marsh marigold. Grows in wetlands, very muddy kind of conditions, water, wet, kind of near marshes and stuff like that. You wouldn't find it in just out in the bush. But I'll zoom in, you get a closer look at it. It is edible with a lot of preparation, cooking, boiling. Okay, so this is the marsh marigold flower. There is a white variety further south, I believe, down in States and stuff. Here in Ontario, we have the yellow variety. So this is the leaf. And this is the flower. Again, marsh marigold.
Marsh marigold is a good survival edible, with proper preparation and boiling. But I'm not really interested in this plant today.
There's an interesting find here. This is what's known as the Strophoma famosa. It's got these little balls. Actually, I'm just fucking with this piece of styrofoam.
So having trekked around for some time, finally come across something that I might be interested in. Fiddleheads are a very common spring edible. They're sprouts from a variety of different ferns, particularly lady ferns, ostrich ferns, and bracken ferns. So what we have here are fiddleheads. These are common in the spring, actually only in the spring. And these are from the ostrich fern. There's also a bracken fern, which you don't want to eat. They grow a little bit differently. They have two small branch offs here, and they're not as tightly wound as the ostrich fern. These are more common down south here, whereas up north, brackens seem to be more common. But these are great to eat with some butter, fry them up in a pan, kind of like asparagus. A little strong tasting, but they're very good. Here's a bit older one. You want to get them where there aren't any leaves on the stem here. This means that it's approaching adulthood, so it's almost fully unwound, and you don't want that. You want pretty much just a bare stem until you get to the fiddlehead. I was a little late for fiddleheads. I'm a little disappointed, but I think I'll get over it.
These are what's known as pheasant-back mushrooms, also known as dryad saddle. They are edible. I don't eat them myself. They don't really taste like a whole lot. But one of the characteristics of it, if you don't know what type of mushroom it is, simply break a piece off and just smell it. It'll smell like watermelon rind. It's really interesting. Yeah, these ones are actually really nice. If I actually ate these, I'd be really happy right now because these are absolutely monstrous. Yeah, smells like watermelon. So one thing I should probably mention about eating mushrooms. I am very selective about the mushrooms that I eat. I find mushrooms very interesting. They're very intriguing to me. They always have been. But they're also extremely dangerous. Or can be extremely dangerous if you don't know what you're eating. So that's a very important part. Two is there's not a whole lot of nutrition in a fucking mushroom. There isn't. Basically, you're just eating it to get flavor or whatever the fuck you like about mushrooms. Just, yeah, be selective about the mushrooms that you eat. Because, yeah, there's not a whole lot of survival element when it comes to eating fucking mushrooms. There's not a whole lot of nutrition in it, and they're not a good choice.
Whatever your reasons for eating wild mushrooms, just make sure you're well versed in identifying them. And never eat any mushroom that you're not 100% sure of. Now on to one of my favorite spring edibles, Wild Leeks.
So this is what's known as a wild leek. Around Kitchener-Waterloo area, in forested areas, you see trilliums around.
usually there'll be lots of these. Now the leaf itself, here's a close-up of the plant. If you look, it has a red stem. Now I broke this off just above the earth. There's actually a bulb in the ground, which I'll show you in a second. But it's got 2 leaves, and if you're not sure what it is, just simply smell it. If you rub this and smell it, rub this together and get it wet on your hand, and give it a smell. It smells like onion or garlic. You've got the right plant. Now some of these do have a white stem or a yellow stem, which is a different variety. It's still a leek, but again, if you're not sure, break a piece of the leaf off or smell the plant itself, and if it smells like onion, you've definitely got the right plant. So one thing you should know about picking leeks, they're getting really over harvested, and part of the problem is that they're not perennial, in a sense. You'll get a bushel like this, and if you remove that entire bushel, it won't come back. So when you pick leeks, it's important that you only take a few from a bushel and then move on to a next bushel, so that they'll come back again next year. Where I am here, there's literally thousands of them, but I still try and take only a few from each bushel just to make sure that they keep coming back. Basically, you want to start from kind of the outside, kind of dig the dirt away. And there is the bulb. I don't know if you can see that, but a bulb on the end of it. So I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to collect a few because I'm going to pickle some of these, maybe dry some, make some leek soup and stuff like that. So we'll catch you in a little bit. Went out here for about a half an hour. Got a crap load of leeks there, so we'll take them home and clean them up, show you how that's done, and see you later. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick demo on how I clean these up. So I usually do it over the sink. First thing you got to do is get a lot of the dirt off. There's a skin on the outside. It just kind of slips right off. And then pretty much clean from there. Just set it aside. Get the dirt off. Put the casing on the outside, comes right off, dirt and everything. Give them a rinse. Set them aside. There you have it. So basically, what I'd like to do from here is there's a little part at the bottom, same as a green onion, it's got a little root ball on it. You want to cut that off, get rid of it. This one got a little bit broken. And now, some people go ahead and they clean all the leaves, and what I like to do, there's a part here, this Y, I cut just below it, and the problem is that dirt gets up inside there. I don't know if you can see that, but it gets all in there. So what I usually do, so I'll cut it up just up by the Y, and the inside there, you can see, I don't know how it gets in there, but dirt gets right down into the stem there, which, I mean, it's not going to kill you, it's a little bit of dirt, but I personally don't like the grittiness when I'm eating my leeks. So I usually just keep cutting down until I don't see any dirt anymore inside that stem. So all my leeks I'll separate in two pieces like this. What I usually do, these I can dry out. You can oven dry them, chop them up, and you can throw them in soup or whatever. These you can fry in a pan. You can fry these both in a pan with some butter. They're actually really good like that. But the bulbs in particular, I like to pickle just to preserve them. You can pickle them with vinegar, or you can pickle them just in like a salty water, just to preserve them. So again, I'll cut these leaves just above the Y, and just below the Y I'll cut until I can see it's nice and green on the end there, with no dirt. But yeah, if you open this up, you can see how the dirt gets right down in there, and I'm not sure how it does, but it gets all in there. So try and clean all that out, you know, one by one. It really sucks, so I just cut that part out. Makes things a lot easier, and saves you a lot of trouble. So yeah. This is actually fairly clean, but depends how close they grow to the ground. If the Y is really close to the ground, then with rainfall and stuff like that, dirt gets in there and it gets right down into the stem. I'm not sure how it gets in there, but it does. So I find that's just the easiest way to get rid of all that. So that's all there is to it. Then just gotta clean them up again, make sure you get all the dirt off, and you're good to go to do whatever you want with them. And we'll show you that in the next step. bowl of water like this. Some cold water. And you can leave these in here for a day or two, just to preserve them until you get them pickled or in jars or whatever you want to do with them. It's a temporary storage, like onions. When you put them in water like this, they do this funny bugle thing. They all slip out of their skins, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Wild leeks are great pickled, or just fried in a pan with some butter. As far as the pheasant-back mushrooms go, I did end up bringing some home with me and fried them up with my leeks. Morning. Out on the trail again this morning. It's Mother's Day weekend. We're looking for morel mushrooms. Haven't had any luck so far. Been out a few weeks, and I was going through the bush here, and I came across what's known as false morel. Don't fucking eat these. I'll get a closer look at them. Just so you can see what they look like, and then I'll cut them open so you can see what they look like inside and how to identify them, distinguish them from regular morels. So this here is a false morel, and if you notice, the cap is really orange compared to a regular morel. Regular morels, the yellow morels, are much lighter, not quite as orange. These are very bright orange, and the cap is kind of convoluted and kind of weird looking. They also are morels, but morels have pits and stuff, and we'll go over the distinctions of those. So I got my knife here, and I'm just going to cut this open and show you what the inside looks like. Now, regular morels, the stem is completely hollow. These tend to have like a foamy inside. They're nothing near like what a regular morel looks like inside. Regular morel, it almost looks like it came out of a plastic mold. The way the inside looks, it's completely hollow. So I'm just going to cut inside this, give you guys a look at what it looks like inside. There. So you can see this foamy stuff here, actually you probably see it better on the other piece. It's actually kind of solid, this one. Let's see if I can cut one more piece here. But so you can see inside there. This one's actually collapsed on itself, but you can see the little foamy parts in there. But yeah, these there's a few types of false morels. These particularly I'm not exactly sure. There may be a conifer false morel by the looks of the head here. But the funny thing about these is that there's been cases of people dying of eating these. But not all the time. Some people will eat them, you'll eat them 4 or 5 times, and then you'll eat them a 6th time, and then you'll fucking drop over dead. That's been the case with these for years, I guess. And it's just good practice that you just don't touch these. Know the difference between these and morels. These are not the morels that everybody looks for. These are actually false morels. Do not eat these. I came across a lot of things when I was out on my forage. Not all of them were choice edibles. And if you haven't guessed already, I didn't have any luck with the morels. With the season being just about over in the south, I pack my stuff and head up north. I hit the road rocking some octane. I make a short stop at Parrot Sound to have something to eat. The trip is pretty uneventful until the divided highway ends.
80 kilometers an hour. Following fucking boat guy. Boat guy. Another few kilometers, we'll run into trailer guy. Trailer guy. Yeah, I get it. You want to bring your boat to your fucking spot, go fishing, and all that fucking shit, which is cool. Right now it's not cool because I'm fucking behind the guy. Trailer guy. Passing lane. Bye-bye, boat guy.
So with boat guy out of my way, the rest of the trip was pretty smooth. And I finally get to my destination.
How's it going? So we're out here in the north, getting eaten alive by black flies, and I'm here with Brian.
How's it going?
We finally made it to the north. So we're on our spring forage, and we're looking around, and Brian caught out the side of his eye, he caught a sight of some trilliums while we were driving, which is a little unusual because usually up north here we don't get a lot of trilliums, at least not in my experience anyways. So we're just kind of out for the day, looking to see what we can find up north here, because we're a couple weeks behind, based on, compared to the south, down in Kitchener where I am. So we're going to go out and check the trails out, hopefully not get chewed alive, and we're going to see what we can find. So we found some trilliums. We haven't found any evidence of leaks so far, but we're still looking, and we'll see what we can find.
Yeah.
We'll catch you in a bit. So here we are. We've got a few trilliums here. Brian spotted one as we were driving on the side of the road, and then on the opposite side of the highway, there's quite a few of them
around here. So we're optimistic that there would be possibly some leeks out here, but haven't found any bushels of leeks anywhere so far. But still early in the morning, and we'll check out some more trails and see what else we can find. It's taking a walk down an old mine road. When we grew up, we were always in and out of this place. It's old Cannon Mine Road. If you keep going, I didn't want to take my truck in here because it scratch all the paint from the ingrowth on the road. The road itself is pretty good, but we're just checking along the trails and stuff. A lot of open areas. See if we can find anything edible to show you guys. And we're in pretty dense woods here. Like, it's not like down south. You don't want to come out here without anything on you. Brian's got some bear spray in his pack there, and I've got my big Kershaw with me because you never know what you're going to run into.
No,
and
for
it's not something you want to regret leaving behind, that's for sure.
This place will eat you alive.
Because wild animals are wild animals. You never know how they're going to react, and you always want to be prepared, that's for sure. So we'll take a little bit of a walk down this way, and we'll go check out some other trails in a bit. So, did go over some of the fiddleheads when I was down in Kitchener, and up north here don't have a whole lot of ostrich ferns or lady ferns, which are usually the choice ferns you want to pick for fiddleheads. Up north here, all my life, there's always been an abundance of brackens, and this is an older bracken right here. I'll just back this up so you can see. It's got like a trident sort of leaf pattern on it. It's got three branches, three main branches, and it leaves off. Now, you're not supposed to eat these because they are apparently carcinogenic, but I personally have eaten these as a fiddlehead. These are kind of old now. They've well gone beyond the fiddlehead stage, but they are very strong tasting. But like they said, you don't want to eat these in abundance because they're apparently carcinogenic, and also in the adult stage. Once they get out of the fiddlehead stage, you kind of want to stay away from most fiddleheads because they're not good for eating anymore, but especially brackens. But they do have a use. We've used these a lot of times for bedding or any kind of insulation or stuff like that. In the summertime, there's literally thousands of these everywhere up in the north here. Brackens, very, very common up in the north. We found a nice little clearing here. These are nice little areas that there's not a whole lot of brush. Things tend to grow nice, easily in these areas. And you can see really well. So it's nice to find little areas like this where you can kind of look around and you don't have to fight all kinds of brush to find what you're looking for. So we're just going to take a quick jaunt through here quickly, and I mean quickly because the damn blackflies are ferocious. The sun's coming out, so that's about the third fucking one I've eaten today. And just to make a note, black flies are edible. I've not died yet. So the morning portion of our trek didn't yield a whole lot, other than some unfamiliar mushrooms, some old brackens, and of course some black flies. So we decided to stop for lunch at one of our favorite spots.
So we took a stop here at the falls at Little White River. It's just a little ways down from Endicai. It's a pretty common spot for us. We come here quite often. Nice, relaxing spot. You can fish. The falls are beautiful. We'll give you a shot of that in a second. But we're also getting really thirsty from running in the bush and stuff. So what we've done is Brian's actually made a purchase, and he's bought us each some of these Sawyer Minis. We're usually accustomed to the life straw, which we used on our last trip last summer. I thought they were great. There was a few concerns I had about it, and we'll address those in a further video where we'll do a little more comparison on the Sawyer Mini and the life straw to see what fares out best. But we're just here taking a break from foraging.
Flies.
Taking a break from the flies, and it's not been a very productive morning, but I mean, I can't think of a better way to spend a Saturday than to be out here getting eaten by bugs. Sounds fantastic. But we're gonna take a little break here, get some water, and a few things in the area we want to take some shots of, and see that in the video. Sounds good to me? Sounds good? Yeah. Right on. So what you can see behind me is a coon, or some small animal, as it's likely a coon, has been munching on these crayfish. And it's kind of critter behavior. Like we're quite a ways from the river right now, probably anywhere 50 or 100 feet, somewhere around there. They'll take one piece and they'll bring it over to a certain area, and that's where they'll eat. And fly on the lens. I have a ferret at home who does the same thing. She'll take a piece out of her bowl, and then she'll huddle off to the corner. She'll eat her food, and then she'll go back and grab another kernel. So it's kind of what they do here. And as you can see, these this is the claw of the crayfish here. These are pretty large crayfish. You don't see them this big very often, and we've seen it be the case here at the falls. They tend to be quite large. So on our next trip down, we're going to be getting some traps out, and we're going to do a crawfish boil. Looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun, and I don't think we have any problems catching crayfish by the looks of this pile here.
So we decide to head back to the truck to check out another spot. Brian says he knows a spot where we can get some chaga. Not really a spring edible, but I've been wanting to get some for a while. So we have a late lunch and hit the road before we run out of daylight.
So we're out here amongst the birch trees, and one of the things that grows on birch trees are what's known as chaga. So we got a good sample of it here on a tree, and Brian's been harvesting this stuff for a while up here. Around here they seem to be abundant. If you just take a walk around the bush amongst the birch trees, you'll be able to find some. So I'll pass this over to Brian, and he'll do a demo on how to harvest the chaga. So I'll turn this around and get the camera on him, and he can show you how it's done.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around right around here, give it a few taps with my hand, try to leave this stuff out, but all the black and all that is all good to cultivate and put in your tea or whatever you want to do with it. It's also known as tinder fungus, so There you go. There's a nice chunk right there. And if you see, cut this little bit of white off there, and the nice colors right here. But you use all of it. You grind every little bit of it. There's another nice piece. You can go right to the nitty gritty too if you want. Waste not, want not.
Nobody home.
See, that's all chaga in there. I'm not going to go too much deeper though. I'll leave some to protect the wood. And that should be good. That'll grow out a little bit more. And that's your tender fungus here, or chaga, whatever you want to use it for. And pick it off live trees too. Sorry. I see some up there too.
Another piece of chaga.
Oh, yeah,
We've been looking a while, a little closer to the road, and we didn't seem to find anything very much back there. Well, that might have something to do with Brian already picking some here.
I've been through this. Look up there.
But yeah, we just came into this cluster, and there's quite a bit of it in this section that we're in here.
Jeez.
So we went out today. It's a little hard for us because we don't get together often, and I got other family that I visit down here, so we don't get a whole lot of time to get out in the bush and do the stuff we like to do. So we had the day today, and it might all be all we get for this time that I'm down anyways. But I'll be back again in July, and we're going to do a whole lot more stuff back then when I'm back. But it's been a good run today. It was a beautiful day out, and we got some lots of chaga there, which I'm pretty happy about because we don't get a lot of it down south, and Brian knew exactly where to find it here.
Yeah.
So it was a good run. We did check a few other spots that didn't come up with anything, but this spot here we got quite a bit. We got a good half a bag full there.
Yeah.
That'll last quite a while. In terms of everything else today,
We covered a lot of territory.
we did find some trilliums, which are not really native to here. We both grew up in this area and have never really seen trilliums around here, and then all of a sudden now there's trilliums here, which seem to be the pattern. A lot of the stuff from the south seems to be migrating like black squirrels. We never used to get black squirrels up here. Saw a turkey vulture today, which we never used to see when we were kids.
Yeah.
So stuff from the south is coming further north. So I'm thinking eventually you're going to start seeing the wild leeks up here, which we never really did see before. So it's been a nice day. We don't get to see each other that often, but when we get together, it's been a beautiful day. Not any rain at all, and despite not finding a whole lot, we did find some chaga, and we had a great day. So
It was an awesome day. Yeah.
so we'll tune out for this one here, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, sure, man. Thank you.